Finance Bill number 2 to the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. All right, all those in favor of adding Finance Bill number 2 to the agenda, please raise your hand. All those opposed? Abstaining? All right, with that, Finance Bill number 2 has been added to the agenda.
That, we can move into the guest speaker, President Ginsburg. I could just have you come forward.
Come to the microphone. When I walked in the room. There we go. So when I walked in the room a couple of minutes ago, everybody stood. And I thought it was for me. I guess it was for something else. But good to see everybody. What a great group. How many of you are serving for the first time this year on the Senate? Raise your hands. And how many of you are serving for a second or third term on the Senate? Not too many. So it's a lot of new faces. Great, great. Well, really good to see you. And thank you for inviting me to come by. I'm going to talk for a little bit, not a whole lot, but for a little bit, and try to go through a couple of things to share with you and then take some questions. Is that okay? Is there anything you want to be asking? Store up your questions so we can talk about it. First, let me thank you for your dedication. I think universities that have active student governances, universities that have active academic and staff senates, universities that have active participation by members of the community are healthy organizations or healthy universities. And I think we have a very healthy university because we have active participation by our students at the undergraduate level, increasingly by our students at the graduate level, and by our faculty and by our staff. And again, I think that's one of the benchmarks we can think about as a university that's actively engaged, that's committed to each other, that has a commitment to conversation, that thinks that dialogue is important before decision making. And so that's one of the reasons I wanted to be here today, and one of the reasons I was so anxious to accept your invitation to join you was to have dialogue, because dialogue preceding decision making is really important. And I'm really particularly proud, I should say, of the SGA's role in civic engagement activities. We as a nation just concluded one of the most important elections of your lifetime, for sure. My lifetime's a little bit longer than yours, but it's also one of the most important elections of my lifetime. Regardless of whether you agree with the outcome, and I'm not going to speak politically about the outcome of the election or speak about any candidates, I do want to speak about the process. And the process of participating in our democracy is incredibly important. And I'm really proud that TU students are registered to vote at one of the highest levels in the state, at a high level in the nation. And I hope that our voter participation equaled our registration. And that's a tribute to the work of the student government, Eddie, and the group that you work with. I know you work personally on having students register and having students involved. And I just really want to compliment you that the importance of your engagement in the university, I think, is predictive of and very much related to your participation in civic engagement generally. And so that's a really good thing. So many of you know I just finished my first year, going to begin my 14th month soon at the university. And I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the priorities we've been establishing, because over the first year, what I tried to do was to listen very hard to what our university community was saying. And as I've said to this group before, I've tried not just to listen to what people were thinking and feeling and believing about our university. I was trying to hear what your perspectives were. And I was not just only trying to hear what your perspectives were and your perspectives are, but really tried to understand what the perspective of every member of our community has been. And so over my first year, I conducted nearly 60 listening tour sessions. Many students participated. Well over 2,000 people participated in those conversations. We went to 9 counties in Maryland and a number of cities outside of Maryland to talk to alumni, met with many civic leaders across the state, including countless members of our state legislature, and tried really to understand to hear and to, again, not just to listen and hear, but to understand what people's perspectives were. Some of the top level, some of the high level stuff, before I talk about some of the priorities we've established that we've heard, is one that the university has grown, the university is large, but the university remains a small, interconnected, intimately related community. And what I heard from people was never lose that sense of connection. Never lose the sense of community. As we grow in size, never lose the sense of interconnectedness that we feel. The second thing that I learned, not just from students, but perhaps as importantly to say to you, from our faculty and staff, was that the principle that's most important for this university is that students come first. And that every decision I make, every decision Dr. Hurt makes, every decision Tamika Porter makes, any decision that any of us, Kelly Adams makes, any of the decisions that we make need to be from the perspective that whatever we do has to be in the service and in support of our students. That's a tradition at TU that we don't want to end. We learned that the emphasis of the university, as we grow to become a comprehensive research university known throughout the nation as a center for innovation, an engine of innovative ideas and solutions to some of the most complex and vexing problems of our day, that as we increasingly become this research-centric university, that we never should and will lose our focus and emphasis on teaching and on learning and on the experience of our students. That's just not a student-first agenda, that's an important agenda because we are an engine. Our university is an engine of innovation. It's also an engine of access, providing access to students from every walk of life, from every corner of our state, from 80 countries and from 48 states. We're an engine of access, but we're also an engine of opportunity. The opportunity that you and fellow students have to come to our university, to study, to learn, to grow, to develop, to prepare for a career, to prepare for life. We're an engine of opportunity, and we're also an engine of workforce development. When I leave here tonight after our conversation, I'm going to have dinner with the chair of the Senate Budget and Finance Committee, who's on campus today meeting with us on a series of meetings. And we're going over to the Auburn House to have he and a couple of our senior team members join for dinner to talk about the next era of the university and how the university can contribute to the next era of success in the state. We heard that TU pride makes a difference. And we heard that members of our community are proud of our institution and that pride begins with the experience that they have. Whether you're a student today or whether you're a recent graduate, I met with graduates as part of this listening tour that graduated more than 60 years ago. And TU pride was real. We learned that the campus is a beautiful campus and that our facilities are first rate and people are very proud and pleased about the physical plan. But we learned that what happens within our buildings is far more important than the beauty of the buildings themselves. That what happens in the buildings are things that we need to continue to engage and to grow and to sustain. But here's the tagline, that I learned that TU is an elite university. Towson University is elite in everything we do. What I heard very clearly, and what I agree from the inner workings of my heart, is that we must not become an elitist university. We must remain and continue to grow as an elite university. We must guard against, with every fiber of our being, of becoming an elitist university. Those are some of the high-level takeaways from the listening tour. And we learned that we need to do even a better job, because as I've said for the last 14 months, that my job is really a simple job when you boil it down. And it's how we make a great university even greater. And I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to do that. So we identified as part of this listening tour, in fact, Tamika's over here. If you met Tamika Porter, who's a special assistant in my office and works very closely with me every day. Her office is about 20 feet from my office. And Tamika headed a team of our senior people to take a look at all the data we collected on our listening tour. And it was thousands of data points. And Tamika and her colleagues did a qualitative analysis to try to determine what are the key elements that we heard and learned, And how does that translate into a series of new era priorities for our university that would lift, leverage, and elevate the pillars of our strategic plan? We have a strategic plan that's from 2020 to 2030. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to look at it. It's very well done. There are a number of pillars of it. And what we tried to do was to begin with the strategic plan, to begin with our plan about advancing inclusive excellence on our campus. We will not shy away from that, and I'll talk about that in a minute. To look at our master plan, which has to do with the facilities of the future of our campus, and to think we're a series of new era priorities. There are 10 of them. A series of new era priorities, how to leverage, lift, and elevate those elements. So here are the priority areas, the priority domains that I'm calling them. First, and this is really important, and I want you guys to hear this very clearly, it's to support holistic student well-being. We know that every campus in America is experiencing a crisis in terms of behavioral health care, in terms of the personal experiences of students through COVID, after COVID, but not just through and after COVID, just in our personal lives, about growing into ourselves, about the challenges we face, not just in school, but in our life. We want our university to be a model in the country for providing a holistic, healthy, empowering, promoting, well-being experience for every one of our students. That's the first priority. And we're going to do that through a variety of ways. And there's a team of people that we are designating, including some students, who are going to look at each of these priorities and help us to define some specific action steps in the short term, the medium term, and the long term to achieve some of these things. Priority 2 is to advance TU as a comprehensive research and teaching university, to continue the path that we're on. But notice I said research and teaching university, not a research or teaching university, which is the case for many comprehensive research universities. Some universities have made the choice. Our choice is to be a university committed to both research and teaching. We're going to, number 3, raise the bar for belonging. In this era, at this time in our nation's history, when so many are questioning the value of DEI, when so many are questioning the value of creating a holistic, inclusive environment, my view is we're going to double down on our approach. And we're going to continue not just to invest our treasure, we're going to continue to invest our intellectual capital, our personal capital. We're going to throw ourselves more fully into our university being a welcome university for all by raising the bar for belonging. Inclusive excellence is going to be not just a theme, it's going to be a mantra. It's going to be it's going to continue to be the DNA of who we are. And if these issues become more limiting, if that issue becomes more limited because of some of the policies that may emanate from the new administration in Washington, we are going to resist that to the extent that we can under the law. And we're going to double down and become even more committed university to raising the bar for belonging. Fourth is we're going to cultivate a culture of pride and performance. We're going to continue to grow TU Pride because I know that pride in the institution is related to how well the institution performs organizationally. I also know that the highest performing organizations are the most inclusive organizations. It's a model of organizational theory called HPIO, High Performing Inclusive Organizations. That's what we aspire to continue on the path to becoming. I think we've done a very good job of getting to a very good place, but success never is final. And we need to continue to do that to cultivate a culture and continue to cultivate a culture of pride and performance. We're going to next further connect our campus with community to be sure that we remain as community engaged as we could be. We're going to foster lifelong connections, engagement, and philanthropy next. And next, we will continue to try to expand access for all learners. And that means something that will dramatically, I think, support students at our university is we're going to continue to seek ways to grow our pockets of financial aid. Financial aid is so important to our students. 25% of our students qualify for Pell Grants, 25%. Our students are in need of financial aid well beyond the financial aid coffers that we have that we've been provided by the state. with the federal government and by philanthropy. We're going to do everything we can to increase access, partly by having a better financial aid package. Most of that is beyond our internal control, but also by doing things like continuing to grow and streamline pathways of transfer from the community colleges to TU. We have agreements in place now with almost every community college in the state to further refine, to streamline, and to enhance the seamless nature of articulation between community college students and students who are here at TU. 50% of our undergraduate population transfers to our university from community college. And by the way, our community college students, in many, many instances, in fact, across the board on average, outperform our four-year students academically. Two more priorities, the 9th and 10th. The 9th is to pioneer the campus of tomorrow, to continue to grow the facilities we have on campus. About $1.5 billion of state funds have been brought to the campus over the last decade to create facilities like the one you're sitting in, facilities like the new College of Health Professions building. But we need to continue to do that. We need to continue to be sure that our facilities of today and our facilities of tomorrow are the most cutting edge, so that our students can learn in the most cutting edge ways. And last, but by no means least, throughout all of these 9 other priority areas, the intent is to continue to elevate the reputation of excellence that we have as an institution. And if you've not heard, I hope you have. Have you heard about the latest rankings? You know the latest rankings. Are you as proud of them as I am? The value of your degree just went up, by the way. Right? The value of your degree just went up, not arithmetically, it went up geometrically. TU is ranked by the Wall Street Journal as the #1 public university in the state of Maryland, the #15 public university in the United States, and the #40 university in all of the United States with private institutions included, including the Ivy League. You should be very proud to be a student here. And you're going to be very proud when you start interviewing for jobs to be able to say to prospective employers, I come from Towson University, one of the best public universities in the United States, not because we say that, and we do, but because others have told us it's so. Others have told us it's so. And so, finally, let me say that as we enter the last couple of weeks of semester, this semester go fast, by the way. Oh my, it seems like yesterday we were helping kids move into the dorms. It just seems like yesterday, Elaine and I were on campus, walking around all the dorms and seeing our new students and returning students come back. It's gone incredibly fast. But it's not been a time without challenge. But you know, within every challenge, there's an opportunity. And I'm a great optimist. And it's my view that every time we face a challenge, we have to think about how can that challenge make us better? How can challenges we face help to make TU an even greater university? Again, my job is to make a great university greater. And so there are a lot of resources I want to be sure that you know are available to you, resources that not only am I proud of, but I know that you've taken great advantage of. I talked earlier about holistic well-being as the first of our 10 priorities to elevate and lift and elevate, lift, leverage, and elevate our priority areas. The Counseling Center and our behavioral health services on campus. World-class behavioral health services here to provide you with resources to assist you at times of challenge. Our rec center, you remember earlier in the semester, because we're experiencing some budget challenges, we decided to limit the hours in the rec center. And a couple of members of the student government, including Eddie, came to Dr. Hurt and I and said, you know, we think that's a mistake. We think we need the health center because that's part of our well-being. We went back that very afternoon and expanded the hours. We expanded the hours because it was in direct response to what we were hearing from our students. Your voice really matters. Your voice really matters. Our health center is great. Our tutoring and learning center, our writing center, all resources that I think make a difference in your life every day. So let me close by saying that not only does your voice matter, but I know that Dr. Hurt and Tamika and Callie and the rest of us on our leadership team, we want to be here to hear your voices. We want to be there to support you. We want to be here to be sure that your experience at Towson University is the very best experience it could be. You're at the #1 public university in the state of Maryland. we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're not going to say to ourselves, we've achieved greatness. What we're going to say to ourselves is we have to achieve greater greatness, because success never is final. And I want to invite you to work with me and our team to be sure that we can grow not just the size of our university, but we can grow the experience at our university for all of our students, so that you can be all that you can be and have a successful experience here and be on a successful trajectory with your career and for your life. So let me stop there, take some questions, and be sure to be in touch whenever we can be of assistance. Questions I can take?
President Ryan.
Good afternoon, President Ginsburg.
Good afternoon, President Ryan.
Firstly, I would like to thank you for coming out and also commend you on your first 14 months here at Towson University. You've done an excellent job from a student standpoint. I've just been very, very blessed to know you and also just see you every day being active on the university in so many different areas. So thank you for that.
Sure, thank you.
But
Appreciate that.
moving on to my question, I know you touched on this last week in the foundation meeting, but I think it would also be good to share here in this space as well. As President-elect Trump has stated, or at least hinted towards, disbanding the Department of Education, how does Towson University plan to kind of go about that change, and what would that look like for us?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot going on in Washington, obviously, and I don't want to be either supporting or criticizing individual politicians, but I will be critical from my perspective of eliminating one of the key departments of federal government. First of all, the elimination of the Department of Education can't be done by executive order. It has to be done by congressional action. So that's point number one. And whether or not that would ever happen is whether it's campaign rhetoric, it will not. Department of Education is really important for universities and for P-12 education and early childhood education as well. There are a lot of key programs that come through the Department of Education and key funding programs that come through the Department of Education. A lot of our financial aid money flows through the Department of Education. Pell Grants flow through the Department of Education. FAFSA flows through the Department of Education. Everybody filled out the latest FAFSA? The new one's coming. It's coming any day. It's going to be important to fill that for financial aid next year. Don't forget to do it. Title IX flows through the Department of Education. So many policies, virtually every policy affecting the function of the educational establishment in our country flows to the Department of Education. So there will be an enormous impact, but I'll tell you this, that if the Department of Education is eliminated, those functions cannot be eliminated. And so those functions will have to go somewhere. We're going to have to be very mindful. We're going to have to be very careful, and we're going to be very, I think, attentive to what's happening in that sphere. Even more importantly for us, though, is what's going to happen in Annapolis this year. Because if you've been following the news this week was there's, by fiscal year next, there could be a $2.5 billion hole in the state budget. We're looking at potentially $1 billion hole in this current year's budget, which is why we're having dinner tonight with the chair of the Senate Budget Committee. We want to be sure that we can protect the assets that we have. And actually, I think the vulnerability for the university at the moment may be greater because of some of the challenges the state's facing from a financial perspective than the possibility the Department of Education would go away, because again, those functions would have to be followed otherwise. The last thing I'll say, though, is that my concern is less about will the Department of Education go away, but will the perspective of the new administration in Washington marginalize higher education? Will there be a marginalization of the importance of higher education in favor of some other things, or in favor of no post-high school education at all in terms of funding and priorities and the like? So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and we're going to be very mindful of it. Other questions? I'm sure there's some. No.
Director Moultrie.
Oh, over there. Sure, go ahead. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, great.
My question is kind of towards like, if there's any resource or any like form, because I know like to just get more of the students like perspectives or like concerns like for the university itself. Because I know SGA kind of does something like where we walk around and get student perspectives ourselves, but is there a way that it can kind of get towards like, students can have a platform to voice their opinions to people higher than us.
Yeah, well, you know, we really rely on SGA in large part. This is the kind of representative group. You guys are the collective voice of students. As I said, Eddie and I meet at least monthly, but as you said, see each other many days during the week, I think. But also, I want personally to be accessible to you. I have office hours every week for students. So if students come in the office and just have conversation, I'm over here a lot, and my colleagues over here, Dr. Hurt, you all know Dr. Hurt. He and his team are really kind of the proxies almost for the student voice being heard when I'm not necessarily available because I'm running around doing a million things. But I don't know, Vernon, you want to mention that because you and your team are fully engaged continually with students and student orgs all over the campus.
Yeah, sure, and I'll say, like the president, I meet regularly with, our SGA president and vice president, as well as, the Graduate Student Association leadership as well. So those have been important spaces that much of what we've done in terms of whether it's policy changes, you know, most recently with our grievance procedures, that really came out of many of these conversations. We really work hard to make sure that the insight, the feedback that we receive, we figure out ways that we can leverage that to make changes, make improvements. And, you know, also, and I think President Ryans will agree with this, in times there have been things where we couldn't do because it's outside of our control as a campus, and really being honest and transparent about that, so that students are aware of that we heard it, and these are the challenges and barriers to being able to make some of those changes.
Yes, some other questions, yeah.
Chief of Staff Adewola.
I don't know if this is completely out of the campus, authority or anything, but I know for the FAFSA 24-25, there was a lot of issues that a lot of students faced. One of them being students who were eligible for state grants. A lot of the FAFSAs weren't received by MDCAPs, for example, even though Towson, for example, received those grants. And a lot of those students depend on those grants, and they weren't able to get the help they needed on time, which caused a lot of students to, be in jeopardy of not, having access to classes, might not even know if they could stay at school. And it really caused a whole lot of issues. And I wanted to know if, because this new FAFSA coming up might be, the same thing might happen. So is there anything Towson can do, to better help secure those students?
Yeah, it's a great question. All that was outside the university. None of that was inside. So there was all a function of both the federal and state government. We could only receive and process things after we received them, and everything was delayed. There is great hope, but I would probably use the word hope not in capital letters, maybe in small letters, because there's also great concern that the challenges last year could potentially repeat again this year. But I can't tell you, Dr. Hurt can probably do how many senior team meetings we had in trying to figure out how to circumvent a process that was killing us. Because, students are the lifeblood of a university. If we don't have students, we don't have a university. And by mid-April last year, students weren't receiving information about financial aid, even May and June in some cases. And that was a big concern. So we did everything we could to try to accelerate that process, but we were beholden to systems outside the university that we weren't able to have work in a more timely way. And to be fair to those systems, they weren't trying to behave poorly. They were dealing with systems that I can say, without being overly critical, this was probably the poorest rollout of a major federal system I'd ever seen. It's shocking to me that they hadn't been able to appropriately beta test things before they rolled it out nationally. And millions of college students were unfairly affected by it, like maybe yourself and others in this room. So we did everything we could to go as fast as we could, but we could only go as fast as we were able to because of the constraints placed on the systems. Let's hope it doesn't repeat itself this year. Any other questions? Yeah, over here.
Director Allen.
There you go.
Thank you for coming to speak to us for one. I did want to say that. I do have a question. You've worked in higher education for a very long time, even prior to you coming to Towson. I did want to know what your push was for working in higher education and how you see yourself being a resource that students can rely on and come to while you're here.
So, say the first part, what was the, I just didn't hear your question,
Oh.
the first part.
I'll just take my mask off, I'm sorry. But you served a long tenure
Yeah,
in higher
that part I heard.
education prior to coming to Towson.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering why you decided to pursue higher education
Oh.
as a career field,
Yeah.
for one, and then how
Yeah.
you see yourself becoming more of a resource to students and
Sure.
faculty at Towson.
Sure. Well, it's interesting. I didn't start off thinking I'd spend my entire career in higher education. I'm a psychologist by training and a clinician by training, and began my career. My first job was as a professor at the University of Rochester, but I really saw myself as a clinician, a health service provider, and had always been doing that, and wound up beginning to teach, and fell in love with teaching and fell in love with being around students. And so I continued to provide services as a clinician, as a healthcare provider, and then continued to grow my interest in working with young people, in particular college students, as a career track, and began to make that transition over time. And was very fortunate and blessed, I should say, to have the opportunity to work at several great universities. At the University of Rochester, early in my career, at this little university on Charles Street down the road called Hopkins for a good bit of time, and then to go to George Mason, which is the largest public university in Virginia, 42,000 students, and have a magnificent experience there. And, my approach in moving into this job is to have a couple of perspectives. One perspective is I think of myself as a faculty member of the university serving as an administrator, not as an administrator who at one time in their life was a faculty member. And that's an important distinction, because I think a lot of people come into administration and they forget their roots. My roots have always been and continues to be as an educator, and to try to work as directly as I can with students, to be not only a resource to them, but a mentor and an advisor and a teacher. And so that was my incentive about coming here as opposed to other universities, because the emphasis here has very much been historically on the experience of students. And the emphasis here has been on teaching and learning, not just on research. The emphasis here has been on the interactions and the relationships between faculty and students. And so I hope to continue that tradition, and I hope to continue the opportunity to serve and to lead, but also to remain committed to the ideals of what education is about. Yes.
Chief of Staff Honeywood.
I have a question.
That's all right. Go ahead. You get
So,
two.
one of the things that, I don't know if this would eventually come to your plate or would go to whoever it's supposed to, but a lot of graduating students or a lot of students that are now being accepted into programs such as education or whatever, a lot of their classes are really messed up in terms of they can only take certain classes during some fall or summer or spring, but they're about to graduate and it's time for them to take those classes and those classes aren't available to them, or it says they can only take it during fall semester, and fall semester just passed and they're about to graduate and the deans aren't reaching out to them. They'll reach out to the deans aren't responding to them. Some of them are just now getting accepted into the colleges and their classes are being taken as they're looking at their schedules and there's nothing they can do, and the deans aren't really, their advisors either aren't really doing what they're supposed to do in terms of helping them. So I don't know if this has come to your table. Was there anything you can say about that, or?
I'll certainly look into it. There are issues at every university around matching student academic needs with availability of classes. And, resources only go so far, I should say. The capacity can only be so high. But if there are some issues in that space, we'll try to take a look at them and see what we can do. Thanks for the question. All right. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you for the invitation to join with you. And my office, my ears are always open, and my office is usually open. And really look forward to having a chance to meet many of you personally and have a chance to talk. And if there are issues you want to talk about, feel free to interact. Andy, thank you very much again. Thank you all for the invitation to be with me. We've got a big agenda, and I've got to run off to a dinner meeting, so I'm going to let you guys go, and we'll see you all before long. Go Tigers.
Thank you so much. Moving into public participation / student concerns. Hearing none, seeing none, moving into communication, advisory remarks.
You guys. Take care. Thanks again.
Happy Tiger Tuesday.
Happy Tiger Tuesday.
I have 4 remarks. I had 3, but one just got added. So first one is a reminder of the Student Governance Summit that's hosted by Baltimore College Town and scheduled for February 1st from 10 to 3. All of the Baltimore area schools, Student Government Association students connect and get together so that y'all can communicate and connect with other SGA leaders across the area. Please sign up. There's a link. I think our communications teams have been sharing that in our weekly emails. So please sign up. Second one is Janiyah sent a survey today, Sunday. So if you got it, please help her out and fill it out. The third is that the Student Activities Office is hosting our winter celebration, the Blizzard, on Thursday, December 5th. From 6 to 9 p.m. on this full 3rd floor. Come out, have some fun. We are also collabing with CAB, so it'll be a good time. And then the 4th announcement just added, so President Ginsburg was just here. Someone asked about ways to connect or to share information. His assistant, who was just here with us, sent me a note that there is a form that you can submit. So you can always access the president. He mentioned his office hours, but there's also a digital way to send that information to him. I will get that to the communications team so they can share it with y'all widely. And I yield.
Appropriations Committee.
Very brief report. Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. The Appropriations Committee met last Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. And again, as you know, we went over grants and we may be meeting tomorrow. Just stay tuned, appropriation members, for our group chat to see if there's an update there. Keep that in mind. And that's all I have. Hi, you.
Government Operations Committee. No report. Rules Committee.
Good evening, everyone. Rules Committee met Thursday, 1 p.m. last week, and we discussed Article 5 and went over the Senate bill that was on the floor for first reading last week. And we made a friendly amendment to that Senate bill as well. I think Vice President Sani will be sending that updated version, or showing it on the screen at least. And we will be meeting again this week, Thursday at 1 p.m. to review Articles 6 through 9. Any questions? I yield.
President Rogers.
Good afternoon. Very brief report for me. Just one thing. Me and Vice President Sani will be meeting with President Ginsburg tomorrow for our monthly 2-on-1 meeting. And I noticed you guys had Thursday, I'm sorry, not tomorrow. I noticed you guys had good questions. So if there's anything additional that you would just like me to mention or add in that meeting, please just let me or Vice President Sani know between today and tomorrow, and we will definitely bring updates next week for that. And also moving on to member of the week, can I get a drum roll, please? So this week's member of the week seems to be a fan favorite, I would say. Definitely someone who has been in SGA since last year. And this is their second year in, and they've assumed a new role, but they have done so, I would say, pretty diligently. Definitely doing their work, doing things that don't even coincide with what their duties and responsibilities are, but just really being there and being a light of positivity for a lot of people around the office or at events, just helping out in many, many, many different ways. So this is the one and only time I'll do this, but this week's member of the week is, some people call him head honcho, but I'm gonna call him Associate Justice Dixon.
Treasurer Mauricio, Attorney General Bennett,
No report.
Chief of Staff Adewale.
Hi, everyone. I'm gonna make this really fast. I sent out an email today. Please enter all of the Microsoft forms. Also for transition sheets, I know I sent some people some revisions. They still did not get back to me. I don't want to keep sending reminders. I don't want to give out a PDR. So please, you have to the end of today to do whatever revisions I asked you to do and send it to me on time. Also, that our Friendsgiving is this Thursday. I know a lot of people were talking about bringing food, cultural, all of that. This is your chance to bring whatever food you wanted to, so I shouldn't hear my complaints about that anymore. So remember, Friendsgiving is this Thursday. It's at Pause in the black room at the back. Any questions? With that, I yield.
Department of Academic Affairs.
No report.
Department of Communications.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everybody. As Chief of Staff Adewale said, our SGA Friendsgiving is gonna be Thursday from 4:30 to 6 in Pause. If you'd like to bring a meal, I'm going to resend the form out for you to sign up. Again, a great opportunity for you guys to show cultural foods. If you don't bring a meal, it's just gonna be TU catering, so Friendsgiving, you're supposed to collaborate through meals. So if you wanna cook and you like to bring a meal, please fill out the form. Thank you. Additionally, we will be playing Guess the SGA Member based off baby photos. I have a lot of submissions, but if you haven't submitted it yet, again, I will be resending the link to participate at the end of GA. Regarding the holiday decorating, this will be taking place the first week of December. We will also be having an office holiday party on December 4th from 4 to 6. More details on times for decorating and activities of the holiday party to come. Also, I want to note that the weekly email Kel and I send out every Sunday can be used to your advantage and another tool to help your fellow SGA members know the events and programs you are having or maybe planning and looking for help with. And with that, if there's no questions.
Department of Community Outreach.
Okay, can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. Happy Tiger Tuesday, guys. Just to remind you guys that we do have 2 volunteer opportunities this week. One is tomorrow in the SJ office at 2. It's snack packing. We're just putting together snack bags for the Baltimore Hunger Project. If you can come, your participation would be appreciated. There's also an opportunity on Friday that's still accepting slots at Paul's Place, which is downtown Baltimore, I believe. It's from 9 to 1, so you're gonna be helping with their clothing center in the morning and then distributing hot lunch in the evening. There's also another collab opportunity that we have with ADC. It's a late night brunch that's still in the works. There is a service aspect to that, so just be on the lookout for that. Lastly, get your service hours because the semester is coming to a close. Me and ADIJ will not continue chasing you guys to do your service. If you don't have it, you know who you are, and we are having opportunities. So get them in. That's all I can say on that. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay, with that, I yield.
Department of Diversity and Inclusion.
No report.
Department of Governmental Affairs.
No report.
Department of Health and Wellness,
No report.
Department of Marketing,
Happy Tiger Tuesday. So as we talked about like already, we're having the Friendsgiving on Thursday, and I had an idea of doing like a video of everyone saying like Happy Thanksgiving and then posting it on Thanksgiving for the student body to see and just kind of feel welcomed from SGA. With that, I yield.
Department of New Student Development,
Happy Tiger Tuesday. Thank you. And so, on Friday, we are meeting with the NSFP office at 3, just to discuss some events for next semester. And then we also had our one-on-one with Chief of Staff Adewale, and we also discussed more events for next semester. Any questions? With that, I yield.
Department of Special Projects,
Happy Tiger Tuesday. So I know there's a lot of events that like y'all are coming up with. So as soon as you guys know, like the event and the date you want, can you please let me know? Rooms are filling up really, really fast, so that's it.
Department of Student Services and Affairs,
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everybody. Okay, so we are about to submit all our forms for Heart Week, like next week. So we're still open to collabs. If not, that's fine. We're also looking for collabs for, we're doing a College Declassified Week event. It's gonna be the second week that we get back in February. We're doing a FAFSA event, a LinkedIn event, a resume builder event, a alumni panel event, and a scavenger hunt. So if anybody would like to collab, please let me know. We are also submitting that before the semester ends. Any questions? No? Okay, with that, I yield.
Department of Student Organizations,
No report.
Department of Sustainability, no report. Military Veterans Representative, Youth Life Representative,
Tiger Tuesday. So I got a not long report, but it's somewhat funny. So, this past week or 2 weeks ago, we did the collab with the MVC game, where we were able to, somebody actually generously donated 180 cans to the homeless shelter in Baltimore on behalf of Greek Life. So that was really cool to see. So yeah, whoever did that, thank you. Another thing is a lot of new members starting to join the community. And the IGC Alpha Kappa Psi had brought in their new members, as well as Kappa Kappa Psi and Phi Sigma Pi as well. And the MGC Lambda Theta Phi, as well as Sigma Iota Alpha as well, joined our community. And then in the PHC Brothers of Phi Beta Sigma also joined our community. So huge congrats to them as we've gained new members this semester. So more is to come. IFC has also gained members, as well as paneling association as well. But yeah, community growing. So it's good to see. So that's all I've got for my report right now. The spring semester calendar has been created for fraternity sorority life. We're going over that tomorrow in our president's meeting. So more collabs and more events will be starting to be planned for the spring semester. So yeah, Thank you. Done.
URG representative.
Happy Tiger Tuesday. Just one thing, tomorrow, is our Friendsgiving event with our sister org NRHH. It will be in the Union Ballroom E from 6 to 8. First come, first served with the food, but there will be activities like rock painting and Guess Who, I think. And if there's no questions, I yield.
First Gen representative. No report. Sports Club Council representative.
I got a quick report. All sports clubs are having our elections, so we're getting a lot of new presidents, a lot of new council people. We got to vote on new constitutions for a few sports clubs. And then men's rugby is going to the national tournament in Tennessee.
CAB representative.
Good evening. Two announcements. Tomorrow, CAB is also having a Friendsgiving late night from 10 to 12 in the Union Ballrooms. It's first come, first served, but we are showing a movie. Girls' night. And then we're having an activity. And then on December 5th, from 6 to 9 in all the ballrooms, we're collabing with student activities. And that's the Blizzard in all the ballrooms. Any questions? There you go.
Transfer student representative.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. Today, the Transfer Council met today. Today, the Transfer Council met. We discussed events for the next semester, and that was it. Any questions? With that, I move.
Freshman Council representative.
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. So the freshman council met last Friday at 12:30 p.m. for a weekly meeting, and that went successful. Yesterday we had our first tabling event. Shout out to the council and also our director and AD. We also have our winter social happening this upcoming Monday, so we'd love to have you all join us as we have some hot cocos and cookies and just some time to connect with everyone. We'd love to see you there. With any questions? With that, I yield. Thank you.
No report. Are there any opinions of the court?
No. No opinions of the court.
Thank you.
And with that, we'll now move into a quorum call. As soon as the quorum opens, please press your buttons, your green buttons to show that you are here.
Anybody else?
With that, we have quorum. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Breedlove.
A motion to review Senate Bill number 13.
Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Senator Tasker. And with that, we'll move into the vote on a motion to review resolution number 13. That the motion to review resolution number 13 has been passed. Would Adekunle Adeleke please step forward and present your case as to why you think you would be a great addition to the Senate?
Good evening, everyone. Well, I've been at Towson since my freshman year, and one of my aspirations has been to be more involved and basically make a positive change. And I feel like there's no better way of doing that than becoming a part of SGA. So my current role as a legal intern has taught me how important being precise is, meeting deadlines, and collaborating with people under pressure. The attention to detail and dedication that I apply in the legal field will translate seamlessly into my work as a senator. I plan on bringing that same type of commitment to serving our campus. I also have experience as a facility assistant at Verdict Hall, and that basically taught me how to foster an environment towards students' well-being. And if I'm selected, I'm ready to get to work and collaborate with everyone here. So go Tigers.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Adekunle? No questions?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Okay, I recommend that a member of the Senate yield their time to Associate Justice Norwood. Senator Kevin.
I yield my time to Associate Justice Norwood.
Okay. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Just one clarification question before I ask him, what position is he running for?
The Senate position in the College of Liberal Arts.
Okay, with that being said, do you have any initiatives or anything that you're willing, that you want to enact, what in your 5 year?
Yeah, I want to implement policies, basically focusing more so on career readiness because I just don't want to have students feel discouraged, like when they compare themselves to other students that have better opportunities.
Good answer. Follow-up question, and then I'm done. Heard you were a senior. When are you graduating?
Spring.
That's all.
Any other questions? Senator Rowland.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So I know you told Justice Norwood that you have the good incentives. Do you have another incentive that like helps students and all before you leave campus? Like with like any other goals that you have prior to that specific goal?
As far as other goes, I'd probably implement
Like,
something.
can you elaborate?
So just one of clarification, during our interview, Adekunle mentioned student wellness and promoting resources on campus as well as making government operations more like easily accessible and things like that. So Adekunle did present those during our meeting. I just wanted to point that out, but you may also continue with your question.
Yeah, I basically want to promote those and make it more known to students because my freshman year and sophomore year, I didn't know all the resources that Towson offered. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Adekunle, would you please step out of the room as we vote on this bill?
Yeah.
Thank you. Would anyone like to speak on Adekunle's behalf? Vice President Sani.
I don't personally know him, but I just know that he's actually been wanting to join SGA for a minute now. So now that he's finally able here, and he had a great interview with President Pro Tempore Fithian Wilson, where he stated how like what he wants to do with SGA, how he wants to be a resource for the student body and advocate for them. So like seeing that, I think he's a good addition to the Senate.
I recommend that a member of the Senate yield their time to Assistant Director Ajay. Government Operations Chair Holland.
I yield my time to
Assistant Director Ajay.
Assistant Director Day. There you go.
I actually used to work with Kume when he mentioned earlier at Vertical. I used to work with him and I was very impressed with him, with his work ethic and his drive. And I know like when he sets his mind on something, I know he's gonna want to accomplish it. And even the way he interacts with students on campus is very encouraging. I think he'll be a good addition towards SGA.
I recommend that a member of the Senate yield their time to Associate Justice Bello. Senator Breedlove.
I yield my time to Associate Justice Bello.
I just want to start off by saying, I've actually known Kunle all my life, basically. And, as far as the work ethic, just gonna piggyback off what, Ajay, sorry. Want to piggyback off what he said. So basically, me and Kunle actually, did some work for a law firm, which was my first internship. It was a real estate law firm. We worked together for a little bit. He's still there now, but his work ethic is crazy. I mean, he's a self-driven, he puts his mind to everything. You know, as far as a law career, he's also going for that as well. He wants to be an attorney. So just speaking on his work ethic, I think he'll be a great addition to the team. He already has some ideas to bring forward on the table, and our relationship goes way back. So, yeah.
Right, with that, are there any motions on the floor? Senator Breedlove.
I motion to, or call to question, resolution number 13.
Is there a second? A second. Thank you, Government Operations Chair Holland. And with that, we'll move into a vote on the call to question for resolution number 13. With that, the call to question has been passed, and we will now move into a final vote on resolution number 13. With that, resolution number 13 has been passed, and Adam Finley is an official member of the Senate. Could you please let him in?
Then you, put your right hand up. All right, just repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully serve the students of Towson University, execute all of the duties and responsibilities of this position, and strive to achieve the high level of expectation that accompanies a position within the Student Government Association of Towson University. I'll preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and all other governing documents
and all other government
of the Student Government Association
of the student government
of Towson University
of Towson
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. You could take a seat up front.
All right, congratulations. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Kelly?
I motion to review Senate Bill number 8.
Are there any seconds?
I second.
Thank you, Senator Alojo. And with that, we'll move to the vote on the motion to review Senate Bill number 8. With that, the motion to review Senate Bill number 8 has been passed. Would Senator Kelly please step forward and explain the amendments that were made to the bill during this period?
The Senate Bill number 8 is just the removal of the Grant Review Committee, transferring responsibilities to the Appropriations Committee. The only changes that were made is that the Director of Student Organizations will be on that committee specifically during when grant requests are reviewed. So if we are having any other meetings, like we're editing the FPSO or doing anything else, they're not considered a member. It's only for when we are reviewing grant requests.
Any questions or statements regarding Senate Bill number 8? Just for clarification, Rules Committee did rule the Senate Bill number 8 favorable with the amendments. All right. Any motions on the floor? Senator Alojo?
I'd like to call a question, Senate Bill number 8.
Is there a second? Thank you, Senator Kelly. With that, we'll move to the vote on the call to question on Senate Bill number 8. With that, Senate Bill number 8 has been passed. Sorry. We will now move into a final vote on Senate Bill number 8. All right, and with that, Senate Bill number 8 has been passed with a vote of 16-0-0. All right, are there any motions on the floor? Senator Alojo?
Motion to inquire Senate Bill number 9.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. With that, we'll move to the vote on the motion to inquire on Senate Bill number 9. With that, the motion to inquire on Senate Bill number 9 has been passed with a vote of 16-0-0. Could Senator Britton please step forward and give a
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everybody. So this is another pretty simple one. This is just changing Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution To note that justices are appointed instead of elected, and that is pretty much it. Any questions? Yes.
Attorney General Bennett.
Okay. Appointed by who?
We said the president in the Constitution.
All 5 positions?
Not all 5. We're talking about associate justices.
Yeah, so the associate justices, that's 5 positions. So you're saying
Yeah,
for
all
all 5 positions, the president would appoint?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes, it does. No, yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a point of clarification. I just want to add something, or just a point of clarification. So the way it stands now, the associate justices are elected positions, as in if 5 people ran for them and campaigned for them and got voted in during the campaign cycle, they would be members of the Student Government Association, similar to how Senate is also a selected seat, an elected seat, how the executive board positions minus chief of staff and deputy chief of staff are also elected positions. So this is a question following my point. So basically you want to change that from having them elected to appointed, similar to like the branch, the executive branch.
Yeah, no, I meant in addition to, because we still kept it in that they're still elected positions. So it's in addition to the election.
All right, we're going to move into, I recommend that the Senate motions to have a 5-minute recess while we discuss this bill, Senate bill. Senator Kelly.
First time a 5-minute recess.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Senator Alojo. All right, and with that, we'll move into a 5-minute recess. We will return at 6:28 PM. Please be back in your seats by that time. Please settle down. All right, we are back in session. So there was a bit of a miscommunication, but we understand. We all understand now. Leon, would you like to just?
Yeah, I would. Okay, so the confusion came from the language of appointed. We realized that can be confusing and exploited. So we meant appointments should happen in the case of a vacancy. We also are changing the language of it being appointed by the president to the chief justice, since that is the liaison of that branch.
Attorney General.
Attorney General, apologies. Sorry. Ian. So we are changing the language there to have it be the liaison of the judicial branch. And we are going to note that the appointment comes in case of a vacancy. So that's where the confusion came from.
Yes, also, this would just match how we already do, these processes when there are vacant seats within the, judicial branch and the Senate as well. Okay, so any other question? Oh, yeah, any other questions about the bill? All right, thank you. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Brinton?
I would like to motion to strike Senate Bill 10 from the agenda.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Appropriations Chair Rivera Forbes. We'll now move into a vote on the motion to strike Senate Bill number 10 from the agenda. With that, the motion has been passed and Senate Bill number 10 has been struck. Are there any motions on the floor? Senator Miller?
I motion to inquire finance bill number 2.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Senator Edwards. With that, we'll move into a motion to inquire on finance bill number 2. And with that, the motion has been passed, 16-0. Would Senator Edwards please step forward and explain finance bill number 2?
Happy Tiger Tuesday, everyone. Okay, great. Today I'm presenting Finance Bill number 2 for the 2024-25 school term, which concerns the allocation of $112,378,000.76 to student organizations for the spring 2025 budget allocations. I'm introducing the bill on behalf of Treasurer Mauricio and the Budget Allocation Committee, and we give the following recommendations for the following organizations that you can see listed below in the bill to be allocated. Any questions?
All right, seeing that there are no questions, thank you for the presentation of that bill. Are there any announcements? Chief of Staff Otto Willard?
I know we're all tired. I know we want to go home, but it's only fair. Madison's birthday is on the 26th.
Am I right? Am I right? 26th? 28th? 24th? It's on Sunday. Let's all sing happy birthday. Yeah, that's what I said at first. I just, okay, in 3, 2, 1.
one. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Sorry, let's rerun it back one more time. 3, 2, 1. Oh no, it's also Jada's birthday. Senator Brenton.
I'd like to motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Appropriations Chair Rivera Forbes. With that, we will move into a vote on adjournment. And with that, adjournment has been passed with a vote of 16-0-0. General Assembly is over.